was captain of a starship for 12 minutes. He saved 800 lives, including yours. I dare you to do better. Enlist in Starfleet. You will experience fear. Fear in the face of certain death. Pull your chute! We received a distress call. I've been waiting for this day my whole life. This day of reckoning. We've got no captain and no first officer to replace him. Yeah, we do. Deciding your own destiny. The question is, which path will you choose? James T. Kirk was a great man. That was another life. They're locking torpedoes. Emergency evasive. Fire!
Star Trek is an action-adventure sci-fi movie that was released on May 8, 2009, and was based on the 1960s sci-fi TV show of the same name. I've seen a few episodes of the TV show. I don't remember them that well, but I will say they were worth watching. Not really something I would watch again, but not bad, and I can see why it was beloved. But this review is not about that. It is about the movie from the late 2000s. So let's see if it's good by starting with a story. So basically, this movie is kind of a prequel to the show. It shows James T. Kirk and Spock's origin story. Kirk's father died before he was born, and we don't really know how well he knew his mother. But what we do know is he was definitely the last person you would expect to become captain of the Starship Enterprise. He initially doesn't want it, but eventually does take the offer to join the Federation. Even still, he was very rebellious during his time, and didn't always follow the rules, but he proved his knowledge of it. Spock doesn't get as much backstory, but we do get a little bit of it. Spock had trouble controlling his emotions, but he eventually made it in his society. Overall, I think the story has some really fucking strong elements. I felt what they did with Kirk and Spock was pretty well handled. I definitely relate to Kirk's struggles. He felt like he was being bogged down by rules, but still cared about doing something good with his life. Also, he was kind of a ladies' man, which is actually carried over somewhat from the TV show. As for Spock, he is basically taught on his home planet that being logical is the only way to succeed, and that you should suppress all emotions. For those of you who think this movie is basically like Star Wars, in which there's nothing but action, I found that is not really true. There is some thought-provoking stuff in here. Also, Spock does eventually realize the importance of emotions, and that suppressing them is not always the best option. In fact, I would argue that it is a sign of weakness to suppress your emotions all the time. That is something you will never hear in the Star Wars movies. That is a damn fact. Also, I really do enjoy the whole alternate reality angle this movie is going for. I find alternate universes and realities really fascinating, so much that I even fantasize about one myself. But it is integral to the story. It helps Kirk stop the rogue Vulcan. It helps Kirk stop the rogue Vulcans, and it leads to some really powerful conversations between Kirk and the older Spock. Now, I've been saying nothing but good things so far, but there are some things that I don't really like in this movie. I'm not a fan of what they did with Aurora. She is portrayed as the fucking smart know-it-all girl that acts really condescending towards Kirk. It was a really popular dynamic in the 2000s, and I never really liked it. I guess it's fine that she ended up with Spock, but I don't know if that was accurate to the show. Whether or not it is not entertaining in the goddamn slightest. But what is accurate to the show is that Kirk and Spock do overcome their differences and learn to work together. I'm also a bit mixed on the dialogue. I thought some of it was really good and powerful, some of it was kind of flowery, and some of it was really cringy jokes. It's a bit all over the place. I will say most of the good shit is toward the second half of the movie. Now, as for the action scenes, I'm also kind of mixed on them. They're filmed and edited pretty well. There are some nice laser shots, fight scenes, and explosions, but there's just not enough to keep me satisfied. It is not completely fucking awful, but it's still not amazing. As for the production values, the cinematography, editing, sound, sets, visual effects, and music are all pretty solid. Not groundbreaking, but pretty good for the time. Overall, Star Trek the 2009 movie is basically the same way I feel about the show. Not something I'm totally into, but definitely worth seeing. I felt the story had some really strong and thought-provoking elements and good production values. I felt the dialogue and the action scenes were not the greatest, and there were some really fucking annoying moments. But it actually ain't too bad. This was back when J.J. Abrams wasn't such a Disney cocksuck and cared about his projects. I give Star Trek the 2009 version 3 out of 5 stars with the title of Worth Watching. Anyway, I'm Spike Robot. If you like this video, you can subscribe to my channel, and feel free to support me on Patreon and follow me on Instagram. See you next time. Honor the freedom, Jingos.